Okay, and we are live. Hey there. All right. Well, hello, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, our smoothie shredders, wherever you're watching me. This is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus, and this is my weekly Q&A. I'm here to help you guys with your questions about health and nourishment and just living the best life you can. And this is my public service. So that's what I'm going to be here to do. All right. Lesson from today's session so far. I actually just had a really good one where I really pushed somebody, as I tend to do, because she, is really fighting a terrible disease. Let me pause 1 second. Is my Instagram choppy? Because it's looking choppy for me, and I do not want Instagram to be choppy. No, so okay, I'll restart, you guys. I just got word from them. Please restart. So I'm going to try again. Discard video. 1 moment, YouTube, Facebook. Please hang on while I try one more time. Live. Gotta love the internet. It's amazing and also terrible. Okay. Hi there. Okay, let's see. Let me know, Instagram, that you can see and hear me this time around. Anyway, so again, we're going to be starting our live Q&A, but I always like to start with a lesson from the appointments I've already been having. And today I met with someone who's really fighting terrible disease. She has multiple cancers and has been very sick, and she's doing aggressive treatments. Maybe you're watching right now. Hello, love to you. Aggressive medical treatments. She's had everyday chemo. I mean, just aggressive treatments. And she wants to work with me to help with her nutrition. But she's someone who's read a lot of books and studied, but still not doing it 100%. And that's really the confrontation that I gave her today, was that, be careful when you're telling yourself you're doing more than you're doing. So I'm going to give that one back to all of you guys. So, for example, she wrote down in her notes for me to get started with the appointment that she was plant-based, but then as we spoke, I found out about sugar. I found out about fish. I found out about mayo and other things that really don't fit into a healing diet and definitely are not plant-based, right? Especially not unprocessed plant-based, and fish, definitely not plants, right? So so when you tell yourself you're doing better on diet than you really are, it's going to lead you to draw the wrong conclusions. It's going to lead to a lot of frustration, right? So for example, if you tell yourself you're doing better on your diet than you really are, and you're not getting better, you might draw the conclusion that diet doesn't help, or plant-based doesn't help, right? Or that I can't heal. But really, the answer is you need to be more aggressive about your nutrition to get better results. So what I was teaching her in our wellness session is something that I work with people on every day in my rapid recovery group, is how to dispassionately analyze what you're doing so that you can make a game plan that's based off of the results you're getting, rather than off of emotions, fears, things you tell yourself that maybe not be true, right? And actually, I have people go through this a lot in my group where I'll say, listen, there's parts of your brain on the sides where we process our emotions. And then this part of the brain in the front is where we handle calculations. When you're thinking about how well you're doing and you're making game plans, kind of rub this part right here and remind yourself this is a calculation based off of facts, not off of fears, not off of feelings, not off of stories, but based off of facts. So you got to start with the facts. And if you draw the right conclusion, and that's the biggest problem that I see and work with people every day, is they draw the wrong conclusion, which leads to the wrong game plan. If you draw the right conclusion, then you're going to keep getting more and more results. But that starts with really being honest with yourself. So if you are trying to change your health with nutrition and you're not getting the results, it's time to examine what you're doing all the way, right? So look at what you're eating. Write down everything you eat, not just good stuff, but also the things maybe that could be contributing to illness. I literally will ask people sometimes when I get that hunch and they tell me what they eat, I'll say, okay, and then what do you eat when nobody's watching in the dark? Boom, we get 3 more things. Okay, cookies, I get this, right? So just make sure you're being honest with yourself so that you can really draw conclusions for the right conclusions about what's happening and make better game plans. Remember, your current health is a result of your current habits. Your habits around nutrition, your habits around sleep, your habits around stress and self-care, and your habits about how honest you are with yourself about what you're doing. So that is literally, this is why I created things like my group, is for a lot of folks to reprogram this. It takes everyday work. I usually say at the end of the group, if you can hear my voice in your head, download complete. So hopefully these sessions help you with that. And I hope that this advice today helps you with that too. For people who are planning to join the Rapid Recovery group, we're getting close to selling out. We always do, usually about 2 weeks before each group starts. We're down to the final spots. So for folks who are listening right now, who are planning to join the group, make sure that you go to goodbyelupus.com and take your spot so that you don't, I always get a lot of sad messages from people who are like, please take one more. I just won't do it because I won't compromise how much support people get. And every single person gets support every day. And right now we're at max. So just be aware of that. But that's only for people who are really ready for all this every day. I'm a lot. And I'm going to ask you about your self-care and your moods and your sleep and your foods. We're going to address your excuses. We're going to confront the issues. It's a lot. All right. And it's a lot that will make your life better forever if you are ready for it. So don't sign up and then feel bad about yourself because you signed up and never logged in. We don't want that. So we want to make sure to change lives. We're actually working right now on a little reel because we just finished a group on Friday. And we had 8 hours of people coming in to share their results, every single one of them positive, every one of them. And so when people ask me like, what's the percentage of people who don't do well, who participate? It's very few that would participate fully and not get results. It's just not really heard of in my program. You might not get every single thing checked off your list in 6 weeks, 42 days, or you might have some things get better that you would have preferred other things happen first. Okay. But to have no change in your life or your health, that's not really physically possible. So it is pretty darn awesome. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to head into questions. I'm going to take turns going between Instagram or Smoothie Shred, Facebook, YouTube, and try to hit as many questions as I can over the hour. And hopefully, even if you don't get your question answered, you're still learning a lot from others who do. And I'm always back in another week. Okay. All right. Let's do the thing. All right. As in, I'm sorry to Instagram for the weird blip. I'm going to start with you. Okay. Hold on. And sorry for the lean in, guys. I got to lean in to read Instagram. So you get a super close up of me here. Sorry. Let's see. All right. Here we go. Okay. Lots of hellos and things. Thank you. Okay. So Liz Coombs wants to know, what's the best protocol for dermatitis? So here's the cool thing is that I'm not trying to teach you a different protocol for every disease and every organ. It doesn't work that way. My protocol is actually specific to cellular repair, not like, oh, here, do this for this illness and this for that illness. No, it turns out that what's best for your health, what's best for your body is really the best for all of your organs. Okay. So when it comes to dermatitis, so dermatitis, any itis, as I've taught you guys before, who've been here before, any itis is just Latin for inflammation. So you're talking about inflammation in the skin. My protocol works really well for that. So the Goodbye Lupus protocol works very well for dermatitis. For some folks, it takes really optimizing that dosage and going for longer to get it to show up in your skin. So for many people, skin is the final organ that receives the nutrition and hydration. In general, that's the case. So sometimes you'll notice other things getting better first, and then you see your glow on. And it is great for all different types of skin issues. We've had reversal of psoriasis, reversal of eczema. In our last group, it was so cool. In the meeting we just had last Friday, we had a member who's had lifelong eczema on her arms, has always worn long sleeves. She wore short sleeves to the final results meeting to show us that her arms were all healed up. So we know that it's great for the skin, and people who do it long enough just tend to get a nice healthy glow because that nutrition's just completely gone out there, and then the beta carotene gives you like a permanent suntan. I don't wear foundation. This is just beta carotene. So you're really just going to go all out in that area. Hydration is very important. You get your smoothies for the nutrition, and you're going to get results in your skin when you stick with it and go for long enough. Avoid all the inflammatory eating, etc. All right, let's go over here and check out what's going on the YouTube area. Okay. Torzatron 1. It sounds like you're from the Tron movie or something. Are you from the future? All right, let's see. So it says diagnoses with hemochromatosis, doing weekly phlebotomy to get the ferritin down. Does this impact my hypernourishment? I would say no, it wouldn't. Listen, so whenever you're sick, whether it's with a disease like you're talking about, or really any kind of inflammatory illness, or really any illness, you want to optimize your nutrition. And if you need any kind of medical intervention, then use it. I really am a proponent of doing that. You know, the person I was working with today, she's got cancer. She's getting cancer treatments. Okay, you're doing everything medicine can do. Now, how do we do everything? How do we empower your body to do everything your body can do, right? So whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's always a good addition. The only time that we make any other changes to it would be because of sensitivities. Maybe your doctor's worried about something else that you have going on. Sometimes it's medications that interfere, but in general, no, hypernourishment will go with your medical treatments. And that's the really good news about that. Okay, let's see here. Let's get over to Facebook. Okay, let's see. All right, I'll just say Missy sounds like a good plan. I don't need to, someone's just telling me their updated plan. Matt, I don't want to go into politics. I'm too honest. All right, let me see. Okay. I'm trying to pick one that's really a focused question about our topics here that will help all of you guys. Okay, come on, Facebook. Let's see here. Okay, let's try this one here. So Claudia wants to know, can this treatment help with anxiety and panic attacks? So there's a lot of parts to this, okay? So if you're asking about, will hypernourishment, the nutrition protocol, help with anxiety and panic attacks? Yes, I have had that be the case working with patients of mine that have mental health issues, that nutrition has a huge impact, whether it's on mood, anxiety, attention, mood stabilization. Nutrition is hugely important for that. The other parts of it would be really working on your thoughts and your self-care. So for example, we've had the majority of people who do my rapid recovery group, for example, say that their mental health has improved, that their anxiety goes away. But it's not just the nutrition. Their anxiety has gone away because of the repeated daily work on their moods and their thoughts that we do every single day. So they're eating optimally for brain health and body health, yes, and they are working on self-care, which improves moods. They're working on game plans right here with the front of their mind so they can dispassionately make plans to improve their health and their life without using their emotions. Then we switch to the emotional mind for daily celebrations of everything going well, on repeat every day. When they have negative thoughts holding them back, I coach them through it to help them change the way they're thinking about things, to help them with their assumptions. And so I think the biggest part of the recovery from anxiety is actually the daily work of reframing how you think, how you treat yourself, how you love yourself, and how you deal with issues that come up, either in an emotional way or in a really focused game plan way. Julie, who did one of my 4-week rapid recovery programs, who's made video about her recovery, said to me once, game plans have been the cure for my anxiety. So whenever she had an issue, I would talk her through it, help her with game plans. And she's like, oh my God, this, like, I don't have to worry now. I have this all set up. So it would be a combination of those things. If you were trying to do that kind of work on your own, I would recommend, yes, you do hypernourishment, eat really healthy, exercise is great for moods, and then maybe use a therapist for cognitive behavioral treatments to help you with your thoughts as well, and put all those things together. And that can give you a good result if you're trying to put together your own program on your own. Okay, let's see. Let's go over. Oh, wait, let me do one more from here. is an important one. All right. Sandra wants to know, when starting a protocol, do I have to stop all medicines? Please don't. No, that's not really, that's not what I teach. And I've had scared doctors message me, my patient watched you online and now they won't take medicines. Are you telling people not to take medicines? I have never said that. In fact, I've said that medicines are what kept me alive until I discovered a way to reverse my lupus. So 17 years lupus free, 16 years off meds because I was scared to stop them. But I took meds while I was healing, and I usually say use your meds if you need them, and then as you don't need them anymore, that's the goal, right? The goal is to reduce or eliminate your need for medication. So if you suddenly stopped all medicines and then started the protocol, if you had some negative impact to your health, you wouldn't even know if it was withdrawal from your medicines versus increased disease activity or anything like that. So unlike a lot of folks out there who try to teach natural treatments, or he'll put you on supplements and things, I do not recommend that you just stop everything that's helping you. You can change your diet while continuing to take your medicines. And then when you don't need them anymore, hallelujah. You do have to be careful because there's some medicines that you won't need anymore that you do need to track so that you don't accidentally, hurt yourself. So for example, usually people with high blood pressure or high blood sugar need to lower or stop their medicines within 3 weeks of doing my rapid recovery programs, because that's how quickly high blood pressure and diabetes goes away. So if you're not monitoring your blood pressure, your blood sugar, then you might overdose on medicines and be sick. I mean, you could pass out if you take too much diabetes medicines or too much of your blood pressure medicines and you don't need them. So in those cases, just be careful to watch yourself closely. And with all the other autoimmune, you didn't say what illness you have, with other medicines, you take them and you talk to your doctors about when you're feeling better, doing better, about how you would taper or decrease them if needed. All right, Insta. All right, let me see here. All right, here. And yes, we're doing Q&A, guys. It originally said Q&A, but then I had to restart it and I didn't want to waste time. Okay. Wow, Insta, you filled in those questions. Right. Trying to scroll backwards to find the people who got here first. K Law 29 wants to know when the next rapid recovery will be after March 17th. So for 4 week, I could do in April. For my group, we don't have a date set, so it might be May, or it might be beginning of June. My kids finish school at the end of May, so I have to talk to my husband and see if we want to do something with the kids, because the group takes all of our attention, really. So I don't know. So we'll see. I just scrolled past. I'm still going to look for a health question, though. Okay. Oh, Instagram. Okay, let me scroll faster. Jeez. Okay, here we go. Definitely not going to get to all of these, but I'm going to do my best, guys. Okay. All right, here we go. Yes, Val West, my recipe book, it will come out this year. It absolutely will. All right. Okay. In my views wants to know, how do I balance ice skate in the green smoothies? Oxalates cause kidney stones. Oh, you mean oxalates? So if you have kidney stones, don't use spinach. If you don't have kidney stones and you're just scared of spinach, you can still use it. It's not a big deal, but you don't need to. You can use cruciferous vegetables and that'll work just fine. Okay. Let's come over here and see what's going on the YouTube. All right. Purity in Plants, cool name. Should I try to work my way up to a tolerance of flax, chia seeds themselves, or is the oil enough? I don't really know what you mean by that. So if you have found that you have some gut issues where it bothers you, then yes, you can work your way up as tolerated. But if you don't, it's no big deal. If you're asking if you can just use flax or chia oil instead of flax or chia seeds, 100% yes, you don't need to use the seeds if you prefer the oil. Okay, let's see here. Let's get over to Facebook. I love people to tell me that they're drinking their smoothie right now. Right on, Beth. Okay, I'm not going to comment on what meds to use, folks. Okay, I don't know you or your health history. I can't give medical advice via this forum. You have to understand I'm looking at cameras. All right, I'm not looking at you, so I'm going to give you more of a general advice based off of what I know and the issues that you're dealing with. But I can't tell you here's your medicine choice. That just wouldn't be ethical of me. Okay. So sorry, I can't do that. It's different when I actually meet with people and I go through your health history. And if you're in a state where I'm licensed to practice or you're in another country, no problem. I can comment on medicines. If not, we have to stick to the wellness world. So just so you're aware of that. Okay. All right. So let's see here. I'm trying to find a good Facebook one. All right. So Robin wants to know, has anyone healed or reversed Hashimoto's eating cooked veggies and drinking the smoothies? Sure. Absolutely. For some folks, just doing hypernourishment on a plant-based diet is enough. And other people, they really need to be more aggressive and do that pure hypernourishment on the Goodbye Lupus protocol. We can say for sure, pure Goodbye Lupus protocol works. Some people will play around with it a little bit and do a little bit of cooked food here and there and still get results, and others won't. So, but yes, there's definitely people who have. Okay. All right, Trish, what's the average time someone takes reverse lupus nephritis when doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol? So I can only really give data like that on people that I have worked with in rapid recovery, because otherwise I don't really know what you're doing, right? So when you're in my rapid recovery program, I'm literally looking at what you ate every day, and I'm able to assess, right? When people are doing stuff on their own, I have no idea what they're really doing. As I started off this session talking about, a lot of times people think they're doing more than they are. In fact, I've had so many people who've done my group who say, I thought I was doing it until I got here, and holy moly, I definitely wasn't doing this, right? So, and that's, of course, it's always going to be more aggressive and more correct when you're working with the people who created it, right? But I can't say a number for how long it takes to fully reverse the disease, because it really depends on how far advanced you are. But people will notice results in their kidney function, usually within the first week. I had one person within 4 days got a blood test that already showed that they went from low protein in their blood to normal protein in their blood, because they'd already decreased protein loss in their kidneys within 4 days. I have people with lupus nephritis who do rapid recovery get weekly blood tests so we can track it, and so I can make sure that they are tolerating the nutrition. So I expect results to begin within the first week, and then we monitor from there. But yeah, so usually between the first week or two, sometimes people don't get their labs right away, we will already see changes in kidney function. It's really, really cool. The kidneys are the most sensitive to nutrition of really any organ that for people I've worked with, in terms of seeing how one bite off plan can really tank somebody. We'll see the numbers just crash, like better, bite of chocolate, right? Down 6 points. I mean, it's really, really remarkable how well you can track, because that's one of the only diseases you can track numerically, right? High stress infection comes down, right? Hypernourishment and good goes up, right? So when everything's aligned, sleep, stress, nourishment, you can just see those changes week to week, which has been really, really wonderful. And you keep going till you're done, or you hit a point where you hit a plateau. So for example, when someone comes to me with stage 5 kidney failure, their GFR is 5 or under, I don't expect them to go to 100%. There's scar tissue, there's damage, but we get them as high as we can get. And then once we get as high as we can get, I come out them with every other trick or thing that I've seen work. And then once everything's used up and we're as high as we can go, okay, go into your step down program, just lock this in and keep it forever. Okay, let's see. Facebook. Oh, look, and somebody else is already helping that other person. I reversed Hashimoto's and mixed connective tissue disease in 4 weeks on this program. That's awesome. Go, Jennifer, and thanks for sharing it. All right. Let's see here. And for people who are asking questions like Eugenia's one saying, I can't find Swiss chard or kale, that's all right. You can Google a list of cruciferous vegetables and just see which ones you have in your area. I have people all over the world in this program. I mean, in my last group, we had people in Malaysia, India, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South America, US, like literally all over the world. Philippines, I'm trying to think of every country of people who are doing this right now. Hong Kong, that's not a country, but China, people from all over the world who are doing this protocol. They're not all eating identical foods because they're going to use whichever ones are actually in their area. All right. So don't worry about that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's address this person's poop, and they don't want us to see a name, maybe because of the question. I'm following a plant-based hypernourishment plan since September, but starting in November, I've had diarrhea and it's ongoing. Any suggestions? Okay, that's a long time. So one, and you didn't write this, but I want to tell you this so that you can clarify it for yourself. I would need to know if you really have diarrhea or a lot. So a lot, or diarrhea or not, not a lot. So for example, a lot of times people will call it diarrhea if they have mushy stool, but it's only diarrhea if it is liquid stool that is happening all day long. And if you don't get to a bathroom, you're going to have an accident. That's diarrhea. But if you are, let's say, drinking mostly smoothies for your food and you're getting mushy stool and you're having like 3 bowel movements a day, that's not diarrhea. That's just pretty normal because of the type of food you're eating. Your smoothie's going in and your smoothie's coming out, right? I mean, you're not going to make big hard stool out of mushy green stuff, right? So one of the things that bothers me is how there's this like somebody somewhere, and I don't even know what their name was, and it doesn't matter to me, created like a diagram of what perfect stool looks like. And it's like this, little C, and it has this consistency and stuff. And so people now want to compare themselves to everyone else to say, do I have perfect stool or not? And then they think they're sick if their stool is mushier than that. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case. Really, it doesn't matter what the consistency of the poop is. What matters is one, that it comes out, because constipation is not your friend on this program. You don't want to overdose in nutrition and not go to the bathroom. That's a problem. That's a problem we have to urgently fix. But if it's coming out and it's controllable and it's mushy and it's happening a few times a day, that's just because you're getting a lot of water. Water it goes through your colon. That's where you absorb it from, through the colon. So if you're having a lot of water and a lot of smoothie and it's mushy, that's totally fine. Sometimes if people really are having diarrhea where it's like, yeah, I can't control this, then it might be that you're going too heavy on the flax oil and maybe you're lubricating your colon too much. It could be that you're doing a bunch of chia pudding that's not blended and that gooiness is kind of working its way through there. That's usually the case. Sometimes it's anxiety that's causing it. But in general, you don't have to worry about it if it's coming out fine and it's mushy. It's okay. I actually just saw a GI doctor because I had to get my colonoscopy because I'm 46 and it's just time. I can't tell my patients to get colonoscopies, so I'm not getting them. So even though I have no risk of cancer, I'm like, let's go. So I went and had my colonoscopy done and we had a fun chat. If those of you who saw my very excited post was that I went to the doctor and he told me that I have the colon of a teenager. He was very impressed with my colon. And so I actually wanted to share the pictures with my family and nobody else is interested in looking at my colon. I don't get it. It is gorgeous. You could eat off of it. Okay. Anyway, my husband said not to say that, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I asked him, he's a specialist in the colon, said, what do you think about if someone is eating a diet like mine? Because he said, your diet's working for you. Just whatever you're doing, your colon looks the best I've ever seen. Like, he was very, very happy. So what do you think about, if someone's eating the way I eat and they have mushy stool? He goes, I don't care. I said, what if it's like shoelaces? No problem. He said, it doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, thank you. So it really isn't the case. What matters is what your stool made of. You could have the perfect C-shaped stool, and if you're eating burgers and fries, you're unhealthy. And you could have green, mushy toothpaste coming out, and you're reversing disease and you're healthy. So that would be the most important thing for you to think about. And I went into detail because this one comes up a lot. People really are afraid of like their poop's consistency, and they call it diarrhea if it's not in that shape that they think is supposed to be ideal. So don't worry about that. Any of you are having that. So again, if it is actual diarrhea, I would check on those things like the flax oil or unblended chia seeds. You can try spacing out your meals like every 2 hours or so, but most of the time that's the actual issue, especially if you were already fine for a couple months. It doesn't make sense. My guess is you maybe turned up the volume a bit on your nutrition, and maybe it just caused things to flow a bit more. If you have more specific help that you need to analyze your diet, that's probably an appointment, but hopefully that fixed it for you, that fixed the concern. Okay, let me see. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Dee wants to know, is salmon okay? Well, in general or for health? For health, no, it really isn't. One of the things that I would refer you guys back to, I've talked about this before, is a video that I did back a few months ago now. I'd have to find it. You could search it on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. Would be the video when I was talking about the study that was published in the British Medical Journal, looking at the impact of nutrition in the first wave of COVID, when they looked at thousands of people on the front lines, so nurses and doctors in the front lines who were treating COVID before we had any treatments, any vaccines, any idea what the heck we were dealing with. And they decided to look at how is nutrition impacting their how many cases you get to moderate to severe COVID. And what they found was that people who identified as plant-based or vegan had 73% less cases of moderate to severe COVID, and that people who identified as being in the range of like high protein diets, they had almost 50% increase in moderate to severe COVID. So from 73% lower rate to 50% higher rate. But then what they never really talked about much was that there were people who were pescatarian, and pescatarians mean that you are mostly having plants, but you're having some amounts of fish as well, right? So you're not doing just plant-based, but you're not having dairy or other things. And what they found is that the people who are the pescatarians, they had, I forget the exact number at this point. I used to have them on the tip of my tongue, but it's been a minute. They had somewhere around 50% less cases of moderate to severe COVID. So just the addition of fish lowered their protection from in the 70s to in the 50s. So it was still better than a regular diet, and it was 100% better literally than a high protein diet in terms of immune function, but it was over 20% weaker, or around 20% weaker than plants alone. So they never addressed that in the study. In the study, all they talked about is they think the plant-based people do better at fighting COVID because that's where the nutrients are in plants, and there are no nutrients in meat. They actually said that, which made me so happy. But they never addressed the disparity or difference between the plant-based people and the pescatarians. And I thought there was more revealed there, that adding one animal product that people think is healthy, like fish, immediately decreased their protection from COVID. So that's looking at the effectiveness of your immune system to fight disease. But what I found is when people use my nutrition plan to reverse disease, one of the side effects is they become resistant to things like infections because their immune system's working so well. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. John Hopkins just did a recent study that showed that cruciferous vegetables actually stop the COVID virus and flu virus from replicating. It decreases replication of the virus by 50%, 50. And of course, hypernourishment is all in on the cruciferous. So whether it's that or all the cellular repair and anti-inflammatory immunity you get from omega-3 in your water intake and the whole program, what you really want to equate the two. People who have healthy immune systems tend to be able to resist infections as well. And fish does have an impact on that in a negative way. So that's what I've seen in my practice, and the studies that are coming out are really proving that as well for the people who are in the lab trying to figure that out. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Ross and Chrissy. All right, this is a lot, and let's see how far I can get here for you. So She says here, how do you eat cruciferous vegetables when you have high sulfur and higher vitamin K? I'm vegan. I've been healing from stage 4 endometriosis, MS, slow lymphatic food sensitivities. I'd love to do your plan, but when I've tried about 3 weeks in my body, it's worse. So if you have been really trying to follow my program, this is for anybody. If you've been trying, as you guys are aware, because you're here right now, I'd really try hard to make this something people can do on their own for free. My husband and I made a conscious decision to release our protocol to the world because we wanted it to be a human right to be healthy. And when people started massively flooding my inbox with needing more help and more questions, but they couldn't work with me, and I was trying to figure out how do I help more, I found a way to at least schedule this time in so that I can help as many of you as I can for free, because I just want you to be well. I'm actually not looking to be busier. I want to see more people get healthy and live their lives. Like, that's just all I want. And there are times when you should work with me. And that would be one, if your organs are failing, because there's no time to get it wrong. I mean, if your organs are failing, you don't want to waste time trying something and potentially getting it wrong. And then you're losing organ function in the meantime, whether it's your heart or your lungs or your kidneys, etc. The second would be you're doing the best you can off of all my free content and my books and things, and you're still not getting the result that you want. There's something going on there. Either you're not doing it right, there's a food sensitivity you're not aware of that can help you find. There's other factors that are affecting you, like your stress or your sleep, but there's a reason. So if you're someone who's raw and you're saying that you start to feel worse, I'm not sure why, right? So it could be that you're not fully doing the protocol and it's just taking you that long to start hitting your kind of detox phase in terms of just the symptoms. A lot of people will feel worse before they get better. We call that detox. I know it's a controversial phrase in the medical world, but I use that word to describe that people feeling worse when they first get started before they feel better. So usually about 3 to 4 days into doing this, you might be feeling fine and then feel like you have the flu, symptoms are worse. And then once we get through that phase, you see dramatic improvements on the other side. When people are working on their own, sometimes it kicks in a bit later. So I don't know if that's the case or if there's something else going on. But if you're struggling to make it work, that's when the best idea to me would be to have me look at it and analyze it. I'm usually able to figure it out pretty quickly when I talk to you, because my appointments are 75 minutes. So I will talk until I get to the bottom of it. Or something like Rapid Recovery, where I can just watch you every day. Because I've had a lot of folks that have given me that kind of information, and I'll say, fine, do Rapid Recovery so I can watch you. And I watch every day. And that way, when the symptoms hit that they were talking about, I'm there to see it. And I'll be able to say, this is what it is. Keep going, or do this, or try that. But I don't know from your statement what is the problem and whether that's a sign of you getting better or a sign of something else. So I wish I could help that more. But that's when it gets to the limits of what I can do in a Q&A session online. All right. Hello, Blessed Butterfly. Let's see. Oh, I look forward to seeing you on the 9th, SCD, GPD. All right. Wild MS Ride wants to know what my thoughts are on radiation from medical imaging. I had 5 head CTs and I worry about cancer risk. I have not seen that be a major issue. There are lots of folks that I've worked with MS who've had tons of MRIs and CTs, and none of them are dealing with cancer. So I haven't seen that be a problem. And I'm results-based. I don't go in the world of theory because I find it disrespectful. Nobody wants to know what I think. You want to know what I actually have results in. And be careful to anyone else who starts telling you what's good or bad for you, but they can't back it up with results, okay? Don't listen to people's thoughts. Listen to people's results. What I can say of all the people I've worked with MS, none of them have gone on to develop cancer. And the nutrition I teach is anti-cancer. That same group from Johns Hopkins that showed that cruciferous vegetables stop the viruses from replicating, COVID and flu, also found that cruciferous vegetables kill cancer cells. So, hey, there's always more reasons to do this and take great care of yourself. All right, let's go over to what YouTube's doing. Okay, what time is it? All right, we're still good. We're still good. Let's go over. All right, I'm going to address this one because even though it's a tough subject to get people to really believe me, I'm going to try again. All right, so Josh M said, I lost 10 pounds, so I stopped eating seeds and nuts. Okay, so what are you saying? So this is an issue that my husband and I deal with a lot. In fact, I just did a live with Chef AJ Monday, about whether or not rapid fat loss is actually safe for you, or rapid weight loss is safe for you. And the reason I did that as a topic was because a lot of people, most people, misinterpret what weight is, and they draw the wrong conclusions, and it can take you down the wrong road, right? So there's a lot of things that can cause you to gain or lose weight. One of the slowest ways that weight actually changes is from fat loss. So it's interesting to me how when people gain weight, they always assume that it's fat. But when they lose weight, they always assume that it's muscle. Does that sound right to any of you guys? As soon as people lose weight, they're like, oh no, I'm losing muscle. I'm not eating enough protein, right? But then if they gain weight, they're like, I'm getting fatter. You need to help me. I'm gaining fat from nuts. People misinterpret weight all the time. And it's not your fault. Listen, it's not Josh's fault. There is so much bad information out there about weight loss and about what weight means, about how to lose weight, about, of course, what's healthy. My husband and I are very regimented in our approach to things. We like I said, we're results-based, and we only teach what we test and show to be results. My husband, just so you know his background, we both went to Carnegie Mellon. I was for biological scientists, and creative writing is my minor. And my husband was double majored in computer science and mathematics. He has an extremely logical, statistical, regimented brain. He's the one that got me to be organized with how I do things. He's like, you need to consolidate what you do into steps that everyone can understand. It can't just be they meet you and they get better. We need to find a way to teach everybody to do what you do, right? Like that he is all about systems. He's brilliant mind. And he came into this from the fitness world because after his computer science and mathematics, and he was successful in that area, he found that he had a passion for fitness. It was a hobby that turned into a passion. And he went back to get his master's degree and in exercise science and health promotion. And what frustrated the heck out of him was that the teaching in terms of nutrition and health and fitness is no longer scientific. We enter the realm of the imaginary. It is a very strange experience, apparently, for someone who comes from the mathematical computer science world, where if the algorithm is correct, you will get the same output every time, right? So if your formula and your algorithm is correct, the output is always the same. In the biological world, in nutrition specifically, everyone's got different ideas. High protein, high fat, low carb, high carb. And when you say, how is that science? You're like, I don't know. Different things work for different people. We're the only species that humans think that about. If you ask a biologist about the right diet for any other species on the planet, they will tell you exactly what it is. Whether it's a koala bear, whether it's a snake, whether it's a giraffe, whether it's a lion, we know exactly what their optimal diet is. And then for humans, we've forgotten. So that was his mission, was to understand what the actual true correct algorithm was in terms of optimizing nutrition for fat loss and muscle building, that there must be one best way because we are all one species. We are not biodiverse. We are one species, okay? And so there must be one optimal way. When I did his program for fat loss, my lupus went away because it turns out the optimal nutrition to build the body you want tends to be the optimal nutrition for aesthetics too, for fat loss, for muscle building, etc. So he has extensive training in understanding fitness, fat, all of this kind of stuff. I learned more from him in this area than I learned from all of my medical training. My medical training helps me understand the processes behind it and how to teach it, especially to doctors. But in terms of the impact and how to understand it, he is exceedingly brilliant at this. So he's actually been trained in all the different ways they measure things like body fat. And most of them are devastatingly inaccurate. You get on a machine, you touch the handles, and it tells you your percentage of body fat. If you got off the machine and tested it again, it would tell you something else. 3 times in a row, different things. How much lotion you have on your skin, how hydrated you are that day. It very, very inaccurate and very frustrating for people who try to use those things. There's so many different methods they use to measure this, but it turns out the only way to really accurately measure body fat is through an MRI. And those are expensive, and most people are not going to get regular MRIs to see how much body fat they have in their body. I bring this up because when Josh is saying, I lost 10 pounds when I stopped eating seasoned nuts, it sounds to me like you're assuming that this is a good thing and that you lost 10 pounds of fat. But it's unlikely that that's the case. So first of all, eating nuts and seeds doesn't make you fat. All right. I would not. I eat nuts and seeds, flax, chia, also cashews, almonds, all sorts of things, not dealing with obesity. Okay. And the other thing is we've tested it. So my husband used to have the largest boot camps, fitness boot camps in Orange County, California, before we left California. And he actually would test different diets on people who are all doing the same exercise to see the impact. Okay. And what he found is that those do not have a negative impact. So that's the good news. He also found the higher the omega-3s, the faster the fat loss with no cap, which is pretty cool. So anyone who tries to say that eating fat makes you fat, it's not biologically true. When you look at the cellular impact of nutrition, it's not true. And then when you step back and look at fat loss, it's not true. Okay. Now, do you lose weight? Potentially, but what are the other reasons why people lose weight? Early on, it often has to do with your hydration levels. So if you're changing how hydrated you are, it's going to impact your weight. Sometimes when people get scared when they gain weight on my program. So this is a gallon of water, 128 ounces. A gallon of water weighs 8.5 pounds. So if I drank this whole thing and did not go to the bathroom, which for me is not possible, my husband has managed this, and you get on the scale, your weight will go up 8.5 pounds. Okay. If you drink half of it, all right, 4.25 pounds from the water. Is that fat? Absolutely not. All right. That's hydration. So that's one thing. If you're eating hypernourishment and you're eating a couple pounds of raw vegetables a day, couple pounds too, which means that just doing hypernourishment alone, especially if you haven't had a full bowel movement yet, you can gain over 10 pounds in a day. Is it muscle? No. Is it fat? No. It's just hydration, stool, food in your stomach. That's all it is, right? So it's very important when you're looking at weight that you're really trying to understand, again, assumptions are everything. What is it that I think I gained, or what is it that I think I lost? It takes a lot of time and effort to burn even 1 pound of fat. All right. Most of the time when people are losing weight, they're either getting dehydrated, they're less full, they're eating a less heavy food, right? Nuts and seeds might be heavier for you. It's also about their glycogen. So when people go on diets like when people do rapid recovery, for example, you stop eating foods that are rich in glycogen. Well, glycogen is heavy, and you have glycogen you store in your liver, and you have glycogen you store in your muscles. And glycogen is easily replaced. It's just a storage form of sugar, right? So you don't have the storage form. So if you go on a plan with less glycogen, although people are very excited when they lose 5 pounds, well, some people are. So people change to pure hypernourishment. They lose 5 pounds in the first week, and they go, oh my God. If they're skinny, they freak out. If I lose 5 pounds every week, I'll disappear, right? And if they're overweight, they're like, yes, 5 pounds a week. This is great. It's 5. That was all glycogen. Usually the very first thing you lose is your glycogen. So that usually is the first 5 to 10 pounds is actually glycogen. So sorry guys who are sad because they want it to be something else. Yay to the people who are scared that they're going to continue to lose. It's just glycogen. Your first meal that's rich in grains and potatoes and things, your glycogen will go right back up. And guess what? You didn't get fatter. That's just your glycogen levels. So it's really important so you understand that just because you lost 10 pounds doesn't mean you lost 10 pounds of fat. Your fat loss will be related to your nutrition and your exercise level. If you want to take off 10 pounds of fat, you're going to need to do high levels of interval training. And consistently, usually it takes, and this is coming from my husband's work. He has a book, Miracle Metabolism, that teaches this aggressively. It's on that side. You see let me try to look behind me. There he is. So Miracle Metabolism teaches this, but you need to do, if you really want aggressive and rapid fat loss, we're talking like 6-7 hours a week of aggressive exercise. So imagine just changing a little bit of like how much nuts and seeds you eat. It's not that. So you can feel reassured is the conclusion. I put a little time in this because this is a topic that drives people up a wall. They're so concerned with the number on the scale. Nuts and seeds aren't going to cause fat gain. All right. So you don't have to worry about that. They do increase satiety. They increase fullness. Fats slow down digestion, which means that you could have more food in your gut while you're eating nuts and seeds because it's slowing down the digestion. So that weight could also be just that you have more food in your gut, that you're not releasing it as quickly. There's so many different reasons why the scale might go up or down, but most of the time It's not fat and it's not muscle, but all these other processes I just described. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I hope that helps others make more sense of it. There's so much anxiety people have around weight, and most of the time they're misinterpreting what's happening. It is absolutely normal for weight to go up 10 pounds back and forth with no change in body mass. It's just hydration, fullness, food, poop, other things, glycogen, etc., but not usually any actual mass of fat or muscle. So, all right, that is a long explanation, but it's one I haven't answered yet in that much detail. So now we can have it and we can make a clip of it or something. Okay, I can refer people to it next time. All right, let's see. I have no idea about this one, but I find it funny, so I'm going to just put it here. Kino wants to know, is there a way to decrease the smell of cruciferous vegetables through our pores? I have no idea what you mean. I don't know. Do you have a strange reaction to cruciferous? Maybe. I don't know. I've never had anybody ask me that before. So I don't know if what you're smelling is cruciferous. I don't know if that's part of your detox. I don't know if there's something else going on. Yeah, I don't know. But, but I find that funny. The smell of cruciferous. Leo, do I smell? No smell. All right. Leo's saying no, but he probably doesn't want to make me sad. I've never heard that before, and I've never had anybody accuse me of smelling bad. So I really have no idea what you mean. But if you think you have a weird reaction to a food, try switching things out a bit and see if you can find the culprit. Some things really do come through people's pores, like garlic, for example. My husband, if he eats garlic, I can smell it through his skin. Like, he doesn't digest it the same way, right? There's certain foods where people do have that, but I don't see that as a general problem. And I've never had somebody ask me that, but I just wanted to put it out there that I saw your question. I'm like, I don't know. But maybe you can experiment a bit and make sure to see if there's something specific you're reacting to. It could just be that you're going through some of the detox process if it's early on, and that's causing you to sweat out some toxins. But in general, people find that when they eat a plant-based diet, it decreases things like body odor dramatically. If you've ever encountered somebody who's doing keto, they tend to have more body odor in addition to acne and other things. But usually plant-based, it actually helps with different kinds of odors. So yeah, I have not seen that yet. Garlic, definitely, but not necessarily cruciferous. Okay. And let's see here, one more over here, and then I'll get back to you Insta, I promise. Let's see. Yes to mustard. I can do that quickly. Oh, and somebody who asked about panic attacks. This one, Jennifer answered that too. Claudia, I had anxiety and panic attacks. This protocol completely changed my life in 4 weeks. That's awesome. Okay. All right, here we go. So D says, I'm worried about bacteria from the raw food. Okay. So first of all, it's important to know that bacteria doesn't come from raw fruits and vegetables. Usually if there's bacterial contamination, it's coming from contamination that's hitting the soil from other areas. So for example, every time that there's an E. coli outbreak in something like spinach, it's not the spinach, it's runoff from animal farms. So E. coli is the predominant bacteria in fecal matter, stool. So when there's a animal farm nearby and there's runoff of the soil that they're having their bowel movements into, and it hits some of the plant farms, especially when there's flooding or other issues, that can contaminate the produce. So still, animal farming can make plant eaters sick just through that, right? Darn it. But in general, it's not an issue. Now, I know in some areas of the world, third world country kind of situations here, there are higher rates of contamination because of pollution and animal excretion and all that kind of stuff. So for most people, that's not really a problem. In the US, everything's, I mean, you buy it, it's already triple washed most of the time. And that's actually why people need more B12, is because fecal matter also has B12 in it. That's how you get it, not from meat, but from stool. So usually it's not really a problem. You wash your produce with some salt water and you can get most of the pesticides and issues gone from it. If you're in areas of the world where that's more of a concern, then that might be different. I can't address all areas, but I know, for example, I've worked with a lot of people in India, and some places in India that can be a problem. And I even found someone online who says how to wash the produce in India to kind of combat that. So, if it's an issue in your area specifically, okay, again, most people don't have that problem. If you just wash your produce correctly, you're not going to have a problem. I actually have never had anybody get bacterial infections from doing this program. If that helps you in terms of results, I have not seen that. I've only seen people's diseases get better, which is good news, right? So, and your immune system gets stronger. So in general, I have that, not seen that be a problem for people. All right, let's see. All right, okay. All right, this one kind of goes with the weight question, but it's slightly different. Dr. Goldner, due to lupus, I have inflammation in my duodenum, low appetite, and I've lost a lot of weight. How can I drink all the smoothies without pain and not losing weight meanwhile? So I hope now I've helped you not worry about your weight so much, right? So the good news is the plant-based eating, the raw eating, the smoothie eating does not cause you to lose muscle. It doesn't. The reason people lose muscle, 3 major reasons, right? I've gone through this before, so some of you guys might beat me to it, right? So 1, inactivity. If you have been bedbound or not getting out much because of your illness, you will have muscle loss. Your body will keep the muscle it needs. So most people have a lot of muscle loss that they don't even realize is happening because of their inactivity, and they start blaming their diet as from lack of activity. The second reason people have muscle loss is from taking cortisol, prednisolone, those kind of medicines. They cause muscle loss. It causes degradation of the muscle. That's what happens, okay? So if you have the combination of being sedentary and taking prednisone, you're gonna have some muscle loss, okay? And the third is starvation. If you don't eat enough food, period, you're just not having enough food, you're going to have loss of muscle because your body's gonna need the muscle to feed itself. It's gonna break down muscle to feed itself. Hypernourishment is the opposite of starvation. You're overdosing in nutrition. If you're getting an overdose in nutrition, you will have the nourishment you need to keep the muscle you have and heal the disease that's making you sick. That is what you need to do, all right? If you lose some weight when you do that, initial weight loss, like I said, is what? Glycogen, right? As you're able to feel better and move more, you'll be able to really maintain muscle mass, add more nutrition as your duodenum's inflammation comes down. You can eat better, eat more. The most important thing you can do starting off is to get healthy. Weight gain is easy when you're ready to gain weight. That is not a problem, okay? Right now, we have to heal you first. And then when you're healthy, you want to put on more muscle, great, right? But you don't want to do anything to get fatter. And you don't want to stress about it. You might lose some weight if you're just not eating enough. But again, then you know the problem, right? Is you have to keep moving and eating more. And at least whatever food you get in actually has great nutrition in it, right? Sometimes people go, oh, I don't want to lose any more weight. I'll just eat a bunch of bread. Okay, so now you filled up on something that's inflammatory and has zero nutrition. And so you're going to stay sick, but you might get a little fatter so the scale moves up. That doesn't work. That's not good. I'd rather the scale stay low, disease goes away, and then we work on healthy ways to build muscle rather than look to get fatter to try to feel better about what's on the scale or what somebody else has to say to you about how they think you're supposed to look. And it's a really important thing. I hate how it's become a thing now to shame people for being skinny. It used to be that skinny was a goal, and we had to deal with people making fun of people for being overweight, right? Like, that's not right. Well, now a lot of societies have embraced this aesthetic that being curvy is better, and people seem to have no problem telling other people that they're too skinny, and it's hurtful. Nobody has the right to comment on somebody else's weight. You don't tell someone if they're too fat. You don't tell someone they're too skinny. Like, that's just not something that you do. You support people in their health and their recovery. And doctors do it too. They don't like the number in the scale, so they try to get you to get fatter so they can feel better about what the scale says. Now you got sicker, right? So what's most important is your state of health. If your state of health shows that you are sick, you need to do the Goodbye Lupus protocol and get healthy, okay? That's your primary goal, not the number on the scale, okay? The number on the scale, that doesn't make any impact on your health. You have to get healthy first, and then everything will go up. And remember, your healthy weight is your weight when you're healthy. All right, I got room for another one, and then we'll head out. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. Okay, so John wants to know, he wants to get me into the fray. Question for this week: why do we see actual doctors promoting low carb, keto, and stating science as a backup? You want to have the fastest, truest answer to this? It's kind of sad, but it's how it is, because doctors are as uninformed about nutrition as everybody else. That's the truth. Okay. The medical education I had only prepared me to be able to understand, analyze, and explain what I learned about nutrition after medical school. The only thing I learned in medical school was don't give butter to heart disease patients. If you want to lose weight, burn more than you eat, calories wise. Calories are another, those are not real. It's not a real way to look at food. And don't give sugar to diabetics. That's what I learned in medical school about nutrition. I've been teaching this for a very long time. And the work that I've done in studying the impact of nutrition on cellular function and cellular repair and immune function has been my life's work. Okay. Most doctors do not spend time on this, right? They didn't get taught it in medical school, so they didn't learn to value the information to begin with. And if they do read something about it, it's an article. They read an article. Okay. You know, the thing about articles and research is you can have two different people show opposite results for the same research. The research is done differently, right? They have a different person paying for the research. They have a different group of people. They have, but you can do things to try to make your work show what you want it to. And that's really, I've worked with people in the pharmaceutical industry, because even people who design drugs, when they get sick, they don't want to take them either. So they usually come to me, and I've worked with someone who's done research in pharmaceuticals. And she told me that if the research they did doesn't promote what they want, they don't publish it. They only publish the ones that show the answer they want. So whether it's about diet or pills, the meat industry sponsors research, right? Research being published, clinical trials are very expensive. So they are usually paid for by major industries like pharma or industries like milk, egg, and meat, right? They're trying to generate studies to promote their product. Whereas there is no major industry for plants. There is no kale industry, no broccoli industry that is like funneling money into studies and things. So unfortunately, if a doctor, happens to read an article that shows something about meat, keto, whatever, and it's a positive outcome, he'll go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll mention that to my patients. But they often don't take the time to say who paid for the study, how many other studies have been done to show this. And the other issue with these, for those who do look at it, because there are some who do, they're not looking long-term, right? So short-term, you can lose weight. You can lose weight doing keto diets, for sure, and low-carb diets. Absolutely, you can. Long-term, studies done all around the world have shown long-term that low fiber, high meat protein diets cause your kidneys to crash, cause heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, cause cancer. So do you want to get skinny with cancer and heart disease or strokes? Right? It doesn't make sense. And that's the other part, is I think doctors have been trained to divide the body into pieces and not look at systems holistically. I've never worked that way. I always take a step back. It's why my appointments are 75 minutes. I want to hear the whole story from when you were young of everything that's happened to you in terms of your health, so I can see your body as a whole system and how all your different organs and systems have interacted to create the state of your current health. Most docs go, oh, you want to lose weight? Oh, I saw keto works for that. Lose weight. Right now, you're insulin resistant. If you try to eat a banana, it's going to look like you have diabetes, because you do, because that's really insulin resistance, not just what your blood sugar is without eating any fruit. Your blood pressure is going to go up, right? You're going to have more cholesterol. You're going to have all sorts of major issues for heart disease, and you're now raising the stakes on having cancer. Colon cancer. Actually, in medical school, I learned this. The diet that causes colon cancer is a low fiber, high meat diet. There's a reason why my colon looked like the colon of a teenager, right? It's because I don't eat any animal products, and I eat tons of fiber. I'm almost done this dose of fiber, right? So you are now starving the body of fiber, eating a high meat diet, which is going to increase your risk of colon cancer. This is stuff that has been known to doctors for decades. And yet they don't look at the big picture because they haven't been trained to. Your cardiology, your psychiatry, your endocrinology, right? Everyone's split up and they're not thinking holistically anymore. So even really smart doctors who are highly trained and specialized, they get nutrition wrong all the time. And that's just the facts of it. And it's sad. I mean, when I went head to head with a doctor on Fox News, a show, he was a keto doctor. He went to Harvard, very good medical school, right? And he puts his patients on keto and he thinks he's curing diabetes. And it's sad because I'm like, really? And he told me I'm causing brain damage. He was very aggressive and angry and didn't want to hear anything otherwise. And I said, there's a lot of ways to help your patients lose weight, but besides giving them heart disease and cancer. I mean, you want to give them heart disease and cancer and get them skinny, smoking will do it, right? But what about using the diet that will reverse disease? It reverses heart disease. It reverses kidney disease. It reverses autoimmune disease. It gives you a teenage colon at 46, right? It gives you glowing, healthy skin that makes you look younger than you are, right? All of these things all happen with the plant-based way of eating. So you're either trying to choose one benefit while risking breakdown of every other organ and system in your body, or when you do the right thing for your immune system, it's the right thing for your kidneys, it's the right thing for your heart, it's the right thing to prevent cancer. You see what I mean? So I think it's all of those things. I think it's a lack of education, nutrition. I think it is that doctors are trained to be very myopic about or short-sighted, nearsighted about their specialty. I think that doctors are often too busy to really sit down with research and look at all the different comparative studies and who's funding them. There's a lot of issues that all come together that create this lack of awareness of what real nutrition is. And it's one of the reasons why I do what I'm doing now, right? I teach for free so that you know that I have nothing else behind it, right? There is no big broccoli, big kale. I've never gotten a check from the flaxseed industry. I'm just trying to help you guys understand nutrition and health better than doctors do. I have been working on that too. Last week, I did a grand rounds to 3 medical schools, all right, to help young people who are becoming doctors, new doctors, learn about how to use nutrition to combat disease and to reverse disease. Things are changing. And I'm very happy that people in the medical world, especially medical students, they want to do better. They want to do better. They want to learn this information. The ones who are already out there, very hit or miss, mostly miss. That's why people always laugh at me when I say never listen to a doctor who tells you what to eat. I know I'm a doctor, but this is a very special situation. And this is what I do. This is what I do every single day is help people reverse disease, right? In my last group, we had such a huge different group of people with all different kinds of issues. Somebody who with morbid obesity, who dropped 32 pounds and reversed her rheumatoid arthritis in 6 weeks. Okay. We had, people who with, let me see, lupus, kidney failure, all sorts of scleroderma, thyroid disease, low platelets, even osteoarthritis, who got better. I mean, it is round across the board that if you eat in the right way, that to supply your body with the nutrients it needs, it will get you healthy. It will reverse disease. It will optimize immune function. You're going to be so glad that you did. So I hope that helps you. I think that was a great question to end on. And thank you for all of you who came today. And for those of you who've been coming every week, I appreciate the comments are like, yeah, I'm back for my weekly session. I'm really glad that this is helping you guys. And it's the positive feedback that keeps me going. I'm here to help. I want to see all of you guys live your purpose, live your dream the way I get to, right? So I hope that this helped you today. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And whatever you end up doing the rest of the day, do your best today. All right. Do your best today. Get some good food in, drink your water, schedule some good self-care for yourself. And hopefully you're feeling better soon. I will see you next time, everybody.